Hello, everyone, and welcome to Psych Talk with Thea, where human behavior is discussed and explored in a real way. Before I go any further, guys, I'd just like to thank you so much for liking, sharing, and subscribing to my YouTube channel and to my video. My last video, which was actually my first video, we spoke about dating and courting, and this video I will be talking about premarital counseling. So we're moving from dating and courting, and now we are going into premarital counseling. Now, premarital counseling, as the name suggests, is counseling before getting into marriage. So it is usually performed by a licensed therapist, a family therapist, or a leader of a religious institution. And this type of counseling helps couples to prepare and set realistic expectations for their marriage. And it also helps to identify weaknesses that could manifest as problems when the couples actually get married. This session, this counseling, premarital counseling, should be between 4 and 6 sessions. It could actually go up to 10 sessions, depending on what the counselor or the therapist finds. If there are deep-seated issues, if there are some kind of underlying issues that need to be dealt with before going into marriage. Now, according to research that came out of St. Catherine University by Kepler, 2015. Now, Kepler states that there is actually a trend, a correlation between premarital counseling and the successful marriage. And there are some myths actually about premarital counseling, and some of the myths are that premarital counseling are for couples who have a problem. And there's another myth that in the event if one partner asks to go to premarital counseling, it means that something is wrong with that partner. But can I tell you, there are pitfalls. There are pitfalls to premarital if you do not engage in some kind of premarital counseling. Because you can realize that there is a problem when it's too late, when instead it could be resolved under the guidance of a therapist, and both partners could realize their goals and move on to marriage. Now, what usually happens in this session in premarital counseling? In the session, the therapist will discuss topics relating to the marriage and to their relationship. For example, communication. But before we get into communication, the couple's shared vision are discussed with the therapist. And if the couple does not have a shared vision, then they are sensitized by the therapist on the importance of having a shared vision. So the counselor will go on to discuss communication with the couple. How does the couple communicate? Of course, communication is very important, and how we communicate with each other is very important. So, what is important in a relationship? What will be important in a marriage? How the couple react to each other in the normal scheme of things, or when one partner is angry, when both of them are angry, how do they react to each other? How do they react to a situation when they become impatient? How do they react to each other? That's very, very important. So the therapist will seek to find this out, and if there is any way that they can correct these issues before getting into marriage, it's very, very important to do so. So, do they listen to each other? That's another thing. They might hear each other, but they don't listen. And these things probably, they don't realize that how important these things are until they get into marriage and they find out that they are not communicating. So how do they listen to each other? How do they focus on getting their point across without hurting each other? Do they apologize to each other, or do they apologize but carry a grudge? These are the things that are very important in a relationship, very important to find out before they go into marriage. What are their values? The therapist will seek to find out what are their values by asking them pertinent questions. What are their beliefs? What are their beliefs on certain issues? And when they disagree, how do they disagree? Of course, there has to be disagreement in a relationship. There will be disagreement in the marriage, and even in the friendship stage. It is very healthy and normal to have disagreements. But how do they go about? How does the couple go about voicing and displaying their disagreement? Is it done with respect? And what are the roles that each person play in the marriage? So all of these questions the therapist will seek to find out, and if they are not doing it in a healthy way, if they're not communicating in a healthy way, then the therapist and the couple will work together to find these things out and to rectify them in order to bring about a more successful marriage. So, what are the roles in the marriage? Who pays the bills? Do you pay? Does one partner pay all of them, or they both pay them together? Do they go half and half? All these things need to be found out, need to be addressed, that when you get into the marriage, it is not a shock, it is not a surprise. Oh, we didn't talk about this thing. No, you did not tell me that. Had I known, I wouldn't have gotten married, because this is not what I had agreed to, or this is not what we had said before. This is not what I expected. And another very important thing is affection and sex. Are both persons compatible when it comes to sex, when it comes to sex drive, when it comes to the libido? One might want to have sex 4 times for the week, and another partner might only want to have sex 1 time for the week. One might be sexually molested as a child, so sex triggers these past experiences and all the episodic memories come into, overdrive, and each time the partner is touched, they remember all these experiences. They were never talked about, they were never spoken about, they were never shared, and so the other partner wonder what is going on. Do you have someone else? Or maybe it's not even a question of whether you have someone else. Maybe you are accused of having someone else because these issues never came to the fore. And fears, the therapist will now also talk about fears. Premarital counseling can help to allay some of the fears one might have about discovering something unfavorable in a marriage, some egregious act that the other person had committed, and the other partner never knew about it. So the counselor has a way of talking, building a rapport, getting to the meat of the matter, drilling down to certain issues, and bringing up some things that really need to be discussed and to be laid on the table before the marriage. So when these issues are brought to the fore, the therapist can guide and help the couple to better understand and support each other and prepare them for a healthy and happy marriage. Sometimes after a few sessions, though, it doesn't take 4 to 6 or 10 sessions for everyone, but to be on the safe side, to get to the meat of the matter, to bring issues to the table, to be on the safe side, 4 to 6 or up to 10 sessions is necessary. So the therapist will sensitize a couple on their differences as sexual beings. For example, men tend to seek physical oneness and women tend to seek emotional oneness. And so you will find that after sexual intercourse, some men might not necessarily want to hold their partner because they are their energy is spent, and they prefer to just fall asleep, while the woman wants to be held, wants to bask in the afterglow. And if the couple does not understand each other, there can be a conflict. Imagine right after the man having sex, he falls asleep. She might interpret this as her body not being attractive, or he's not interested, when really and truly he's just really tired. So it is important for the therapist to sensitize them to these things, what might happen as a couple, so there are no, or I shouldn't say there are no, but to minimize the shock and surprises during a marriage. So you see, there are a lot of little things and tips and sensitization that can be had with a counselor when you and your fiance participate in premarital counseling. Thank you so much for watching another one of my videos, and I hope you found it informative, and I'm also reminding you to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much. See you in my next video. Thank you.